Hey tribe, today I want to chat to you about stepping into your truth or stepping into your light. Now, this isn't a once off event. This isn't something that just happens one morning and then you're in it. And this process has probably been one of the most difficult things I have ever had to do. Now, the reason why I think it's so difficult is because you have to forget everything you've been programmed and conditioned to think, especially about yourself. And you have to break free from those self limiting beliefs. And it's it's intense and it's tough because for many of us, we have been told so many things that make us believe that we're not worthy or not good enough. Um, and I remember having heard stuff from my past where people have said to me that asked me what is wrong with me because I couldn't get 100% for an exam, but I got 98. Um, I remember one of my bosses once in my early 20s said to me, "She's of the opinion that I am pathetic and useless and that I will never amount to anything." So it's interesting how these things kind of like in a way might affect the way that we think. And in some cases, some of that stuff has affected me quite a bit. It actually makes you push harder all the time so that you can control outcomes and the way things play out. But in reality, a lot of stuff that is not the truth, and it's not really what defines you and say who you are. So to actually step into my truth over the last couple of months, especially when you get stripped from everything that you think defines you. I mean, especially for me. Now, I know that in the world, and specifically for my background, a lot of it had to do with the car that I drove, the area that I stay in, the clothes that I wear, the people that I hang out with, the way my body looks, what you do for a living. All these kind of things were parts and parcel of what I thought defined me. And then through this journey over these last months, over this last year, when it gets stripped away from me, or from you as well, when it got stripped away from me, I kind of like had to sit there and go like, okay, well, who am I? And you know, and what kind of defines me? It got me to the point that for weeks and weeks on end, I wouldn't leave my cottage, I wouldn't leave my space because I can't go walk on the beach because I had no idea what am I supposed to wear? What are people going to think? Can I take my dog with me? Should he be on a leash? What happens if I take him off the leash? All of these things. And it was just so terrible. It's hectic to think that I was so programmed to fit into a mold of what I thought people thought of me and needed me to be. So I've had to really break free from these self-limiting beliefs and these conditioning or this conditioning and stuff. It was, yeah, so it's been quite a process. But what is interesting is that the things that have happened to me in my past and the things that I thought I had to be or am or was did not define me. So I arrived here and I'm now stripped from all of those things, and suddenly now I realize, but I'm not in my best shape. I've lost so much weight after COVID and when I got sick. I don't have the flashy car. I don't live at that address in Joburg. You don't know all of these things that you thought people needed me to be. And because of that, I kind of like realized that I still offer value. I still am making friends and new friends, and people are appreciating me for who I am, especially if I can't offer them anything else but myself. I'm still being found attractive by people. I'm still getting compliments from strangers, etc., etc. And you go like, okay, well, where did all of this kind of come from? So that self-limiting process and then kind of breaking free from that has been quite a journey, because besides that, I then started realizing or kind of realizing I have so many insecurities and where and then start digging deeper to try and understand where they come from. And then a lot of them stem from childhood stuff. Even in my case, some things that happened before I was born. And I then kind of like realized that, so I was adopted as a baby. And I've got this huge fear of rejection. And because of that, I have this fear of not being good enough. And therefore, I'll always be pushing to do 150%. You'll always have to be perfect. And in that, you want to control everything to make sure that you can actually secure or, ensure that outcome. And man, it is so exhausting. So exhausting. And I consumed all my time trying to manage this and go through this kind of understanding of making sure that the outcome plays out in a perfect way. And especially being a control freak, that every outcome, every situation, every reality needs to be carefully orchestrated so that it actually has the perfect outcome, just so that I don't get rejected or and kind of made out to not be good enough. So during this last year, especially when all the wheels came off, the anxiety levels were through the roof. I mean, I remember that there were certain days and certain nights even that I would be in bed literally holding my stomach like this and rocking back and forth because my stomach was so kind of like in a knot from the anxiety that I was experiencing from all the stuff that was going wrong. And I just couldn't control it anymore. And I remember the one morning, one afternoon, I was actually phoning my lawyer and I was saying to him, well, now court cases are coming and the banks want to kind of repossess the car and the bike and everything else. And I'm like, how the hell am I doing this? What do I need to do? And he just literally said to me, it's time that you let it go. It's time that you surrender. And I think as a control freak, that was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do, because you sit there and you breathe in and you have to exhale and realize that you can't control the outcome of what's coming. And you have to just let it be and you have to let it flow and things will fall into place the way that they should. And I think in some cases, a lot of the outcomes have been way better than what I could ever have anticipated. So in that case, yes, I was blessed. But it's still tough and it's still challenging and there was still a lot of things that I needed to go through. But since then, my anxiety levels have actually subsided significantly. And now I can even feel my body in certain situations react and I go like, whoa, that's not a good feeling for me. That is making me very uncomfortable. That is a dis-ease, which now makes me a lot more in tune with situations and my intuition and so on to feel scenarios rather than try and control them. And if it feels right, then I go with it. So I think when you realize, when your attorney and your lawyer kind of says to you, it's time, you need to kind of like let it go. I think you have this moment of reality and this reality check, this moment of truth, when you go like, okay, well, let it go. And as things get stripped from me more and more and more and more, the more I become bare, and you have to realize or define who it is that you are. And I think the beautiful silver lining in that is that the world, my world, is now an open canvas. It's a blank piece of opportunity to create whatever I want. And in doing so, the process is then to start stepping into your truth or stepping into your light, as some people might say. Now, I've had this beautiful opportunity a couple of months ago when a tarot reader actually had a chat with me at a beautiful conference. A close friend took me to, and she said to me that life happens to you, and in fact, as I said before, happens for you. And these things, these knocks in life, happens so that it actually breaks all of this conditioning and molding that's been programmed into us to get us closer to our most authentic, highest self. And you must understand that this core, the inside of us, our true being, has been layered with years and years and decades of programming of what we should think and and do and act and be. And some of those knocks initially are quite small, and it starts breaking off these layers. But the closer you get to this core, the more and the more intense these moments become. And the knocks in some cases for some of us are hectic to get us closer and closer and closer to this moment of realizing who we are, or realizing our purpose in life. And when the perspective shifted, I really started really working through the process of what happened to me in life and the stuff that's happened to me over time, and some of the things that I've been through, and the abuse and the addictions and the adoption and that rejection and all of that kind of stuff. And this is really part and parcel, me coming out some of those at the other end of some of those realizations, to be able to start making these videos, because I really want to share some of these stories with you to show you that there's real light at the end of some dark tunnels. And the closer you get to your authentic self, and the better you are at, the more you become in tune with the universe, and the world and spirituality, and whichever kind of reality you follow or believe in. So when you kind of when I stepped into my light, is when I started asking myself the kind of question, who am I? And what is my purpose on this earth? And then on top of that, what do I like? What do I like? Not what people are thinking what do I think people want me to like? What do I like? And what don't I like? And there's certain kind of behaviors and certain things that I just won't tolerate. It doesn't mean that when you start stepping into your light and you're becoming this person that are the most truest version of yourself, that it means that people should walk over you. I think it's evident or important that you should still have very clear personal boundaries. But it's very evident now how certain people just don't resonate in my space anymore, and I just block them instantly. Like, certain behaviors just become a lot more evident in the way that I express myself and the way that I do things. And now it's starting to beg those questions, right? So my purpose, and I think my purpose, I found and realized, is that I want to leave this world a better place than I found it. And if I can inspire people to think differently, if I can ignite evolution within them to realize some amazing things about themselves and the world that they live in, that we live in, encourage people to do things differently, to leave a better planet one day, or maybe just leave an incredible legacy, then that'll be an amazing space for me to play in. And that's definitely something that I would love to do. So these videos are part and parcel of that. And yes, I've started writing some books and things and whatever else as well. So there's some really cool stuff. And then I've launched the business channel as well. So there's a business channel for Arcade Global, when I want to talk a bit more about, creating some really awesome future-focused, future-based businesses as well. And I'll talk that on a different channel. So now, what is so incredible is that when I surrendered into this new way of thinking and doing and being, some of the things that have started aligning for me and coming into my world have been so incredible, because it's almost as if it's now on purpose created for me. It's almost like the universe is rigged for me. And the more and more and more I step into that truth or in that light, and the more I become, or I believe I am on the inside, the more incredible opportunities are just coming my way. And the people that I'm starting to chat to are all in a similar mindset. And, people have got this fuck it attitude. Just make it happen. And a lot of you will find that I use the hashtag just live, because I don't think it's been ever more true than it is now, that just live, just make life the best that you can make out of it. Be the most incredible version of yourself. Grab opportunities, do it. Let expression come out. I really want to play in so many spaces now, and I want to look at how can I create and how can I be creative, and share that kind of passion with people around me. Share my story, And you'll see in the coming episodes, I'm going to start talking a bit about some certain topics that I'm actually very passionate about, and things that I think us as human beings need to talk about a bit more often. And stepping into your truth and stepping in my truth, it's forced me to be vulnerable. It's forced me to realize that there are certain things that I can't control in the outside world, but I can definitely control how I perceive them and how I react to them. And for the rest, if I've put up boundaries and within that it still doesn't serve me, then just let things happen the way that they should. And some cases they don't happen the way you want them to, definitely not the way I wanted to, but the way that they played out eventually has probably been more incredible than I could ever have imagined, because it's just putting me more in alignment with what my future holds. And I'm just so exceptionally grateful and blessed for everything and everyone in my life right now. It's just the most incredible thing. So I encourage you through these challenging times, and whatever they are, losing family members, losing your job, a lot of things are going to be a lot of things in our times right now is going to challenge you to think who you are and what defines you, and what is the value and the gifts and the magic that you can bring to this world by being the best version of yourself. So I encourage you to really explore that, and please leave some comments and share some of your stories, and even ask some questions that I might chat about in some of the follow-up episodes. Thanks again for all the shares and the likes, but please again share, like, subscribe to the channel if you find value in some of these conversations. I'm trying to be as authentic and as raw as I possibly can about some of these topics, because I'm not trying to persuade anyone to have a certain belief. I'm just sharing my story, and I just want to say that I love all of you very much. And as I said, just live.